There is a hidden law that governs every relationship, every negotiation, every friendship, and every position of influence. Most people never notice it because they spend their lives trying to be liked instead of becoming valuable. They believe attention creates importance, yet attention is cheap. It can be bought, manipulated, or forgotten within hours. Value is different. Value is earned through scarcity, reliability, and inner strength. The person who becomes genuinely valuable never needs to beg for recognition because their absence speaks louder than their presence. The moment people realize life is more difficult without you, your position changes completely. They begin protecting the connection instead of taking it for granted. The greatest mistake you can make is believing that being constantly available makes people appreciate you. Human nature rarely rewards what is always within reach. Familiarity often creates complacency. When someone knows they can access you at any moment, your time loses significance. This does not mean becoming arrogant or emotionally cold. It means understanding that your energy, attention, and skills are limited resources. Anything limited naturally gains value. The rarest people are not those with the loudest voices, but those whose presence consistently improves every environment they enter. Look carefully at individuals who quietly command respect. They are not chasing approval. They do not interrupt conversations to prove intelligence. They do not compete for attention. Instead, they invest years developing abilities that few possess. Every day they sharpen their knowledge, improve their judgment, strengthen their character, and master their emotions. While others are obsessed with appearances, they focus on substance. Eventually, the gap becomes impossible to ignore. People begin seeking their advice, trusting their decisions, and respecting their standards because genuine competence cannot remain hidden forever. Your greatest investment is not your reputation, but the person you become when nobody is watching. Private discipline eventually creates public influence. Every hour spent learning while others waste time, every promise you keep when excuses would be easier, every temptation you resist when no one could have blamed you. These invisible victories slowly transform your identity. They create confidence that cannot be faked because it is built on repeated evidence. Confidence without discipline is arrogance. Confidence supported by discipline becomes authority. Never confuse popularity with importance. Popularity depends on the opinions of crowds, but value depends on your ability to solve problems, remain dependable, and maintain composure under pressure. Crowds change their minds every day. Real value survives trends because it is rooted in usefulness and character. When people know they can rely on you during uncertainty, they begin to recognize that replacing you is far more difficult than they once imagined. That realization changes every relationship because people instinctively protect what they know is rare. Power does not begin with controlling other people. It begins with controlling yourself. The individual who cannot govern emotions becomes predictable, and predictability is a weakness that others quickly learn to exploit. Every outburst of anger, every desperate attempt for validation, every impulsive reaction reveals information about you. It tells where to push, how to manipulate, and when you are most vulnerable. Emotional discipline, on the other hand, creates uncertainty. When people cannot easily read your reactions, they are forced to approach you with greater caution and respect. Calmness is not passivity, it is concealed strength. Most people believe that the loudest person in the room is the strongest. History repeatedly proves the opposite. The truly influential individual rarely wastes energy reacting to every insult, criticism, or disagreement. They understand that emotional reactions often serve the interests of those seeking to distract or provoke them. By remaining composed, they deny others the satisfaction of controlling their state of mind. This quiet restraint communicates confidence more effectively than any display of force. It sends an unspoken message: your emotions belong to you, not to the people around you. Calmness also sharpens perception. When emotions dominate your thinking, your judgment becomes clouded. Fear exaggerates threats. Anger creates unnecessary enemies. Excitement encourages reckless decisions. But when your mind remains steady, you notice details that emotional people completely overlook. You recognize hidden motives, subtle changes in behavior, and opportunities concealed beneath confusion. While others rush toward conclusions, you observe patiently, gathering information before acting. This ability alone places you several moves ahead in any social or professional environment. Consider how often relationships are damaged not by major betrayals, but by small moments of emotional weakness. A careless message sent in anger, an unnecessary argument fueled by pride, a desperate apology offered from fear of abandonment. These actions temporarily relieve emotion, but permanently weaken your position. Every unnecessary reaction gives away a piece of your authority. The disciplined individual understands that time is often the greatest ally. Delaying a response allows emotions to settle and wisdom to take their place. What feels urgent today often appears insignificant tomorrow. People naturally trust those who remain composed during uncertainty. In moments of crisis, everyone looks for someone whose mind is not overwhelmed by panic. If you become that person, your value rises without you demanding recognition. Others begin seeking your judgment because they associate your presence with stability and clarity. They know you will not make decisions driven by ego or temporary emotion. Over time, this reputation becomes one of your greatest assets. Calmness is not merely a personality trait. It is a form of invisible power that protects your influence, strengthens your decisions, and quietly separates you from those who are ruled by every passing emotion. Discipline is one of the rarest qualities in the modern world because it requires choosing long-term rewards over immediate comfort. Most people live according to their moods. If they feel motivated, they work. If they feel discouraged, they stop. Their progress rises and falls with their emotions, making their results unpredictable. The disciplined individual operates differently. They understand that emotions are temporary, but habits shape destiny. Instead of asking whether they feel inspired, they ask what must be done today. This simple shift separates ordinary people from those who quietly build extraordinary lives. Every meaningful achievement is built on countless invisible actions repeated over time. No one notices the early mornings, the hours spent studying while others seek entertainment, the difficult conversations handled with patience, or the consistent effort maintained when no applause is waiting. Yet these unseen moments create a reputation that eventually becomes impossible to ignore. People often admire success without understanding that discipline, not talent, carried the greatest burden. Talent may open a door, but only discipline keeps it open year after year. One of the greatest misconceptions is that discipline limits freedom. In reality, the opposite is true. Lack of discipline places your future in the hands of circumstances, distractions, and other people's decisions. Discipline gives you control over your direction. It allows you to make promises to yourself and actually keep them. Every time you follow through on a commitment, your self-respect grows stronger. Every broken promise weakens your confidence because your mind begins to doubt your own words. Eventually, people notice the same pattern. If you cannot rely on yourself, others will hesitate to rely on you. A disciplined person develops a reputation that speaks before they enter a room. Others know deadlines will be met, responsibilities will be handled, and difficult situations will be approached with consistency rather than excuses. This reliability is far more valuable than occasional brilliance. Many people impress once but disappoint repeatedly. The disciplined individual may not always appear spectacular, yet they become indispensable because they can be trusted day after day. Trust is not created by dramatic moments, but by consistent behavior repeated over months and years. Discipline also strengthens your character by teaching patience. You stop chasing shortcuts because you understand that lasting success cannot be rushed. While others search for quick recognition, you focus on becoming better each day. This steady improvement compounds until the difference between you and everyone else becomes impossible to ignore. People begin wondering how you achieve such stability, unaware that the answer was never a secret formula. It was the willingness to do ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. The world is filled with individuals who possess intelligence, ambition, and opportunity, yet fail because they cannot control their daily actions. The disciplined person may begin with fewer advantages, but consistency transforms those small efforts into remarkable results. Over time, your reputation becomes your greatest asset. People value your presence because they know your standards do not change with convenience. They recognize that your words carry weight because your actions continually prove them true. That is the quiet strength of discipline. It builds a life so dependable, so respected, and so uncommon that people naturally fear losing access to someone they know they cannot easily replace. Silence is one of the most misunderstood forms of power. Most people assume influence comes from speaking more, explaining every decision, or constantly proving their intelligence. The people who hold the greatest influence often reveal the least. They understand that every unnecessary word gives away information, intentions, and emotions that others can use to predict or manipulate them. The disciplined individual speaks with purpose, listens with attention, and understands that restraint often carries greater weight than endless conversation. Mystery is not about deception. It is about refusing to make yourself completely predictable. Human nature is drawn toward what it cannot fully understand. When every thought, plan, emotion, and opinion is shared immediately, curiosity disappears. There is nothing left to discover. People begin taking your presence for granted because they already know what you will say before you speak. The rare individual creates a different impression. They observe more than they reveal. They allow their actions to communicate their intentions instead of constantly announcing them. This quiet confidence creates respect because people recognize that someone who does not need attention is often someone who possesses genuine inner security. Consider how often people weaken their own position by talking too much. They reveal future plans before achieving them, making themselves vulnerable to criticism, jealousy, and unnecessary interference. They explain every decision in search of approval, unknowingly placing their confidence in the hands of others. They react immediately to accusations or misunderstandings because they fear silence will be interpreted as weakness. Yet silence often forces others to confront their own assumptions. When you refuse to be drawn into every argument, people are left with uncertainty, and uncertainty is difficult to control. Your calm restraint shifts the balance of power without a single confrontation. Mystery also protects your emotional energy. Not every opinion deserves a response. Not every criticism requires a defense. The strongest individuals carefully choose where to invest their attention because they understand that attention is a limited resource. By refusing to engage in every distraction, they preserve their focus for goals that truly matter. This selective behavior often appears unusual in a world where constant reaction has become the norm. While others are exhausted from defending themselves, you continue moving forward with quiet determination. People naturally assign greater value to those whose presence feels uncommon. If you're constantly available, constantly explaining yourself, and constantly seeking validation, your uniqueness gradually fades. But when your words are measured, your actions are intentional, and your personal life remains protected, your presence becomes memorable. Others begin paying closer attention whenever you speak because they know you do not waste words. Your opinions carry greater influence precisely because they are offered sparingly rather than endlessly. This does not mean becoming distant, cold, or emotionally unavailable. It means developing enough confidence that you no longer feel compelled to fill every silence or satisfy every curiosity. You allow your character, discipline, and achievements to speak on your behalf. Over time, people realize that there is depth beneath your calm exterior. They understand that your value does not come from constant visibility, but from consistent substance. That realization changes the way they treat you. Instead of overlooking your presence, they begin respecting your boundaries, appreciating your attention, and recognizing that access to someone who is calm, disciplined, and quietly mysterious is a privilege that cannot be taken for granted. The desire for approval is one of the most subtle chains that limits human potential. It rarely announces itself openly. Instead, it disguises itself as kindness, generosity, patience, or the wish to maintain harmony. Yet beneath these behaviors often lies a deeper fear, the fear of rejection, criticism, or being left behind. When your happiness depends on the opinions of others, you surrender a part of your freedom. Every compliment lifts you higher, and every criticism pulls you lower. Your emotional state becomes controlled by people who may not even understand your true worth. The person who escapes this cycle gains something far more valuable than popularity. They gain independence. Most people spend years trying to fit into environments that were never designed for their growth. They change their personality to match expectations, hide their beliefs to avoid conflict, and accept disrespect because they fear losing relationships. In doing so, they slowly lose the one thing that cannot be replaced, their authentic identity. Ironically, the more they chase acceptance, the less respect they receive. Human nature rarely admires desperation. People instinctively value those who are comfortable standing alone when necessary because confidence that does not depend on external validation is both uncommon and powerful. Detachment does not mean becoming cold or indifferent toward others. It means refusing to allow your self-worth to rise and fall according to someone else's approval. You can appreciate praise without becoming addicted to it. You can listen to criticism without allowing it to define you. This emotional balance creates a remarkable sense of stability. Others notice that you are not easily manipulated through flattery, guilt, or intimidation. They realize they cannot control your decisions simply by offering approval or threatening rejection. That realization alone changes the dynamics of every relationship. When you stop chasing validation, your attention returns to what truly matters, your growth, your discipline, and your purpose. Instead of asking whether people like you, you begin asking whether your actions reflect your values. Instead of trying to impress everyone, you focus on becoming genuinely capable. This shift is transformative because competence creates confidence naturally. You no longer need to advertise your strengths. Your consistency, integrity, and results become visible evidence of your character. The opinions of others become information rather than commands. Many individuals mistakenly believe that saying yes to every request will make them indispensable. The opposite is often true. Constant availability teaches people to expect your time without appreciating its value. Boundaries, however, communicate self-respect. When you politely decline what does not align with your priorities, you demonstrate that your energy has purpose. Those who truly respect you will admire your discipline, while those who only valued your convenience may distance themselves. Losing such relationships is not a setback, it is clarity. As your need for approval fades, your presence becomes noticeably different. You speak because you have something meaningful to say, not because silence makes you uncomfortable. You help others because it aligns with your principles, not because you expect gratitude in return. You pursue excellence for the satisfaction of mastering yourself, not for applause. This quiet confidence attracts genuine respect because it cannot be purchased or imitated. People begin to recognize that your value is rooted in inner strength rather than external recognition. They understand that access to someone who cannot be manipulated by approval is rare, and rarity is what makes a person truly indispensable in a world where so many are still searching for permission to become themselves. The final measure of your value is not how many people know your name, but how many people recognize the difference your absence makes. This is a distinction that few understand. Many spend their lives trying to be noticed, believing visibility is the same as significance. They seek constant attention, remain available at every moment, and say yes to every opportunity, hoping that popularity will secure their place. Yet the more accessible they become, the more ordinary they appear. The truly valuable individual follows a different path. They protect their standards with unwavering discipline, understanding that respect is earned through consistency, not convenience. Standards are invisible boundaries that communicate what you will accept and what you will never tolerate. They are not loud declarations or dramatic ultimatums. They are demonstrated through daily actions. When someone repeatedly disrespects your time and you continue rewarding that behavior with unlimited access, you teach them that your time has little value. When people ignore your principles and you compromise them simply to avoid conflict, you quietly lower your own worth. Every decision either strengthens or weakens the image others hold of you. Over time, those small decisions become your reputation. People naturally respect individuals who respect themselves. This does not mean arrogance or superiority. It means having the courage to protect your energy, your attention, and your integrity even when doing so is uncomfortable. There will always be moments when maintaining your standards requires disappointing someone. Many fear these moments because they mistake temporary discomfort for permanent loss. In reality, healthy relationship becomes stronger when built on mutual respect instead of endless accommodation. Those who truly value your presence will adjust to your boundaries. Those who disappear were often benefiting from your lack of them. Another essential truth is that your value increases when your actions consistently match your words. Promises become meaningful only when they are fulfilled. Principles become powerful only when they remain unchanged under pressure. Anyone can display confidence when circumstances are easy, but genuine character reveals itself during difficulty. If your standards remain steady through success and failure alike, people begin to trust you on a deeper level. They understand that your decisions are guided by conviction rather than convenience. That kind of reliability is increasingly rare in a world where many change their values to fit each new situation. You must also learn to walk away from environments that repeatedly diminish your growth. Remaining in places where your efforts are ignored, your loyalty is exploited, or your potential is underestimated sends a silent message that you do not believe you deserve better. Walking away, however, is not an act of anger. It is an act of self-respect. It creates space for opportunities, relationships, and responsibilities that recognize your true worth. Every meaningful advancement in life often begins with the courage to leave behind what no longer aligns with your standards. As you continue strengthening your discipline, protecting your peace, and refining your abilities, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop chasing opportunities because opportunities begin seeking you. You stop demanding respect because your conduct naturally inspires it. People become more thoughtful with their words, more appreciative of your time, and more careful not to lose your trust. They understand that your presence cannot be replaced easily because it is built upon qualities that are increasingly uncommon: calmness under pressure, unwavering discipline, quiet confidence, and unwavering integrity. In the end, the greatest power is not forcing people to value you. It is becoming so consistently rare, dependable, and principled that they instinctively fear losing access to someone whose presence elevates every room they enter.